The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much and welcome to Building a Culture of Wellness. This is our Satisfax and Apartment Ratings April webinar. And fittingly enough, April also happens to be National Stress Awareness Month. So it could not be a better time to talk through wellness. Wellness is such a cool topic, and it's a topic that's top of mind, especially right now. So we all know that happy and healthy employees aren't just more enjoyable to be around, but they can also make our businesses more profitable and desirable to new talent as well. And that's not, obviously we want to make sure we're dealing with the whole person, right? But it's also a benefit to business. And I think that win-win combination is really what we're looking for. And it's obvious, well-being benefits were important in 2020 as we all have sort of endured and continue to endure, unfortunately, a global pandemic. But I think the benefit of it is that it opened our eyes to see something that we were actually part of something that was completely unsustainable. That business isn't just about building the skills necessary to accomplish tasks, right? Business has a unique opportunity right now to impact people on a whole new level. And get into that win-win situation while building the whole person. So we're going to talk about all kinds of fun things today, as it relates to employees, residents, and also just your home life as well. And my panel is so fantastic, and I cannot wait for you to hear all of the amazing things that they have going on. So I'm going to try to move quickly so that we don't waste time. So number one, So those of you that don't know me, I am Melissa DeSico, and I am the Director of Client Performance for Apartment Ratings and Satisfax, and I will be moderating today. And our expert panelists are going to share with you best practices that you can start implementing no matter where you fall on your wellness journey. So whether that be a corporate program, something on site for your employees or your fellow coworkers, or for your residents, or even if you just want to incorporate these things at home, there is something for everyone. So a little bit about our time together before we dive into all of that. We are going to try to keep this to 60 minutes, but we have a ton to cover, so I'm going to try to hurry that up. But following the webinar, it may be a bit of time. We have to make sure that the webinar downloads, but we will send an email that includes the recording from today and also the slides that you'll see on screen. So you will have all of that, but I do encourage you to take notes so that you can start implementing this stuff right away. In addition, don't forget the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel is where you can ask the panelists questions along the way. If I don't get to you, I'll make sure to get to those at the end. At the end of our session today, we also have an exit survey. So we'd love for you to tell us how we did. Rate us and comment your favorite things or your least favorite things about what we talked about today. Remember as well, we do these every third Thursday of the month, so you can check in with us every single month on a fun topic that relates to the multifamily industry. And last but never least, how can we win today? So after the session today, we will post our session rating with a little image on Facebook and Instagram. And if you go on there and like the post and share with us your best wellness idea that one of the panelists shared, or something that they just gave you an aha moment about something you could do, share that with us on social and you can win. So we would love to see that winner and celebrate that together when we see that post. So if you are familiar with Satisfax and Apartment Ratings, you can always access all of our content on satisfax.com. So if you want to check out any of our past webinars, we've done all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can go on satisfax.com and find that library so that you can see all of that content. And it's free, so you can share it with your whole team. Okay, so let's get started. So this is so funny. I heard this probably 10 years ago, and it has stuck with me all that time, and it's something that I live and die by. So I know I can't see you right now, but if you don't mind, if you have a pen or a pencil in front of you, if you can just put it in your mouth, seriously, just like you see on the screen. And I know it sounds crazy, but you don't have to keep it there. So put it in there for now, and then you can take it back out. But the topic is, I really do feel like I need a t-shirt, because I feel like Will Ferrell in, is that his name? Will Ferrell, I guess, in Elf, where, you know, you probably know what I'm speaking of. But when I talk to you about putting a pencil in your mouth, I know it's a funny way to do it, but there have been so many studies, and one of them I think is super interesting was at UC Berkeley. So they did a 30-year longitudinal study, and what they did was they took old yearbooks and they measured the smiles of the people in the pictures in the yearbook. And based on the measuring of their smile, they could actually accurately, or most of the time, accurately predict those people's well-being, their general happiness, how inspiring they were to others, and general success throughout their lives, just by measuring their smiles. The ones that had the widest smiles consistently were the highest in all of those things. So they actually did a very similar study to this, where they looked at baseball cards, and they could actually predict life expectancy of baseball players based on their smile size. So I know it sounds silly, but even when you use a pencil to put it in your mouth, it sort of gives your brain kind of the same sort of, you know, burst of energy as an authentic smile would. So if you're having a bad day, or if you're just like, oh, I'm just so frustrated, you can always just help yourself to sort of alter your mood just a little bit by even making it a fake smile. So I don't know if anyone noticed a change in their demeanor after they put the pencil in their mouth, but it really, really does work. And, you know, smiling, I know it sounds so silly and it's so simple. It's kind of like our human superpower that we have that we don't know how to use, right? But people actually perceive people that smile as more likable, more courteous, and also more competent, which I think is also crazy. So the craziest piece of this study. So I know some of my former colleagues are on the call, so they have heard this previously, but smiling actually stimulates the reward centers in our brain, and it has therapeutic effects as well. So it has been shown to make us feel better physically, and has been associated with reduced stress hormones like cortisol, increased health and mood enhancing things like like endorphins, things like that, and also lowered blood pressure. So all of that, you know, happens just by a smile. And when they actually did, they sort of measured your brain activity when you smiled, and they found that one smile is the equivalent brain stimulation as having 2,000 chocolate bars. So think about that for a minute, 2,000 chocolate bars. They also say it would be similar to winning like $20,000. So I just think that's so interesting, and it's something we can do for ourselves very simply. And so if you ever need, you know, someone, maybe a resident's coming in your office and you know it's going to be a tough conversation, maybe prime yourself with that pencil if you need some extra motivation. So I just thought I would start us all off with 2,000 chocolate bars to get moving. So hopefully that worked. And I'll get that t-shirt and start wearing that around. I like smiling, it's my favorite. So, okay, so let's get off the fun stuff and let's talk about the even more fun things, which includes wellness. So as I mentioned in the intro, by focusing on factors that benefit the entire person instead of those specific just to work life, companies develop people that can thrive in all environments. So, you know, when we think of wellness, we often think of physical and emotional. So we think of those two things, but it spans a much bigger spectrum than that. It can be all kinds of different things. And, you know, when we research wellness, we find that, you know, even though 80% of employers claim that they support their team's physical and emotional health, only about 46% of employees actually feel supported. So there's that sort of gap there where we need to find out, you know, what do our employees need? And I know I'm like all over crazy stats today, but if you've ever had the chance to listen to Bob Chapman speak, I really do recommend that you take that up, because it is transformational. Actually, a lot of what he talked about, I'll be talking about at NAA at Apartmentalize. So I'm super excited about that. But one of the things that resonates with me the most is the person that you report to can be more important than your family doctor. And when you start to think about that and you reflect on that statement for a minute, you'll know it's true, right? You know, it's anecdotally true, but also 90% of doctors' visits are linked to stress in some way. And all of us know we spend the majority of our days at work, right? We report to one person who will determine whether or not we love our jobs. And if we don't love our jobs, this reflects on our health and our relationships, both inside and outside work. So, you know, as we think about that, if we remember this saying and act accordingly, you know, especially in leadership roles, even if it's colleagues, you know, making sure that you're not the person sending them to their family doctor, it makes a big difference. We have that much of an impact on our associates' lives. So it's something that really, really resonated with me. And it's something that makes, you know, the responsibility of really playing towards a person's well-being so much more important. And quickly, again, some of the stats that support this, obviously there's so many. If you research this, it could go on for years and years and years, all of the things that are related to wellness in the workplace. So you can see all of the things that impact our businesses, right? It can be higher morale if you can really focus on wellness, lower sick time, costs go down, and production goes up. And you actually start to see turnover go down as well. So all of these things are positive impacts on your business if you can start incorporating wellness items into your business. So you can see some on the screen, you know, mental health is accountable for 60% of absenteeism, right? 70% of workers in these wellness programs report higher satisfaction. So when you think about this, it's not something that is just fun to do. It's something that makes a big impact, not only on your business, but your employees. So I wanted to do that as quickly as possible so that we could get to the most important people on the call today. And that is this incredible panelists group. They are fantastic and they have so much to share with you. So I want to introduce them and let them say hello to you all. So our first panelist is Caitlin Melvin. Would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm super excited to kind of share what Trinity Property Consultants does with our wellness and excited to answer any questions you guys may have.
Perfect. And we have Barbara Savona.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm Barbara. I'm Sprout Marketing's CEO, and my goal today is really to come from a three-prong approach of some of the things I want to share. One, as a business owner that has a team that I really care about and I want their wellness. Another, I'm the property manager cheerleader. I'm always, as a former property manager myself, I know that wellness is an important topic. So I want to share some of those things that help with marketing, but also adjust the experience of coming to work and enjoying it. And then lastly, I've recently started going back to school for functional medicine. And so wellness is important to me on that front. And I want to share some of the tips and tools that you guys can take away today. So looking forward to it.
So excited. And David, can you introduce yourself as well? We have David Lind.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everybody. I appreciate everybody who is attending the webinar today. I'm the CEO of the Lind Companies out of San Antonio, operate about 20,000 units. And I'm here today to talk about how we decided to completely transform our company from maybe one of the most unhealthy environments in the way of health, wellness, food, mental health, stress, etc., and realizing the toll that it was taking on my people. And you know, I'm a person who has more friendships at work with the people I work with and the bonds we create here than I do anywhere else because I spend so much time here. And then I started looking out at my, you know, all my partners and teammates and team members and said, man, I'm killing these people and I'm speeding them to their grave. And so I wanted to reinvent and reimagine our company as to one where you actually integrate a lot of the concepts that we're going to talk about today onto the panel into what we do. And when I'm seeing the results of the stuff that is coming from this, it actually vastly outpaced my expectations by a wide margin. So really excited to share these ideas with people and make everybody recognize that these learned behaviors and patterns that we've programmed ourselves with as to what office work needs to look like, and it has to be serious and uncomfortable and can't be fun and all these other things. All that is just programming and things that we have told ourselves, time and time again over time, and those are just not reality anymore. And the workplace is shifting in a very dramatic sense, and it's very exciting about the stuff that we've been able to achieve here, and look forward to sharing it with everybody.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I just got goosebumps. It's so exciting to see this evolution of wellness, and now it's becoming this front and center thing. And I just can't wait. We're going to dive right into here, and we're going to start with Caitlin, and she is going to share with us about what they're doing at Trinity. So Caitlin, please take it away. How's it going at Trinity?
Yeah, thank you. Like Melissa said, my name is Caitlin. I am a senior community manager with Trinity Property Consultants. I am over 3 properties currently. I manage 284 total units. I have a wide variety of units, if that makes sense. I oversee a senior living community and then 2 market rate conventional communities as well with that. So I kind of get to see everyone on the spectrum and really enjoy what I do. So I'll kind of kick it off with my testimonial with Trinity first. I joined Trinity in summer of 2019. And really enjoyed my time, the benefits, everything that Trinity really had to offer. And then COVID hit. And Trinity really, I think, did an amazing job of really staying connected with their on-site team members. There is that stigmatism of the on-site team members versus corporate and everything like that. And Trinity really goes above and beyond to break those glass ceilings that is that mentality of really having to be the on-site team members, boots on the ground and everything like that. So we introduced at Trinity our employee experience division during COVID, which was, I think, the most opportunistic time to introduce it. Reason being is because we, as not only humans, but as companies, were at a very vulnerable point. We didn't know where we were headed. We didn't know what COVID would bring us on, and those kinds of things. And so I really enjoyed kind of learning a little bit more when Katerina, our employee experience director, was brought on. She implemented all of these different wellness challenges and activities, whether it be from cooking healthy meals to yoga classes to water drinking challenges. And it really was super cool to sit back and watch. I really took it to heart for myself during COVID. I battle a lot with mental health issues personally, and Trinity really helped me combat a lot of that during that time. I ended up signing up for these challenges and really committing to it. I actually ended up losing 60 pounds because of the programs that Trinity offered. And so in December of 2021, they had reached out and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to be a part of our wellness committee. Is this something you'd be interested in?" And I said, "Absolutely." Because I took everything to heart and really put my nose to the grindstone and really believed in myself and believed in what Trinity was doing. I definitely was able to kind of shape not only my work-life balance, but my personal life as well, with some of the great habits and tools that Trinity taught us along with the wellness side of things. So kind of getting into the wellness committee, we are a group of team members made up from all different categories and sides of Trinity. So we've got people from the training division, from on-site to high up corporate, to compliance, to marketing. We've got everyone kind of this really big melting pot of people that come together once a month, and we collaborate on ideas, different challenges or ways we can implement things throughout our companies and communities. So one of the things that we really love to do, and I get my residents involved with this as well, but we do what we called our Walker Tracker challenges. So back in February, we did an NFL Stadium Tour challenge for the Super Bowl, and really kind of commemorating all the NFL stadiums and really just kicking off that fun time of sports and American football, right? So then right now we're currently in our Building Healthy Habits challenge, where it's not only our walker challenge, but it's also embracing habits and really building on them to continue to be healthy, and how tips and tricks and how we can continue to do that as employees and utilize that in our personal lives too. Later this year, we'll do a celebrations around the world, and then our Spooky USA challenge, which is one of my favorites, brings us to different cities in the US and talks about all the spooky things going on there. So fun stuff that we offer for that. So as Melissa said, April is Stress Awareness Month. And so Trinity has rolled out with a couple of different programs and tools. Yesterday, actually, we had a class on building healthy habits and stress management and what that looks like and how we can combat some of that stress in our lives when it comes to work, which was really cool to hear and attend. And our humility training as well also took place yesterday. So yeah. Let's see what else. We also do our wellness bingo. This is a great tool that we give to on-site team members that really want to expand on their wellness, right? So it's different challenges, whether it's drinking more water or get up and moving and walking around the community. As an on-site team member, I feel like I never sit behind my desk for more than 2-3 hours a day. I feel like I'm always up walking around. And so this is something that's really cool that Trinity has done to engage us in really making sure we hit our steps for the day and everything like that, and really cool to be participating in. The other really cool thing that I love that Trinity has offered is these de-stressing tips. My boss, Clarissa, always tells us to dance it out, and it's one of my favorite things that I do with my team members is just whenever we're having one of those days where it just feels like everything is falling from the sky and you can't seem to get a hold on everything, you just take a few minutes and just dance, and you just release that energy and you get the dopamine pumping through your system, and really trying to shift your mentality and, and put yourself in a positive mindset and mood. With COVID, we had a lot of emotional well-being resources, and even to this day, we still do, where Anthem, we've partnered with our health insurance program that we offer at Trinity Property Consultants. We actually have monthly meetings with our insurance program to connect on things like our emotional well-being resources and different resources that they offer and that we can utilize out in the open to work through stress, depression, anxiety, substance use, sleeping issues, and how we can find these resources and what we can do to better ourselves. From there, like I said, we have a ton of different things that we offer. Melissa, if you could go to the next slide.
I think that was all I had on here.
Oh, okay. No, that's totally fine. I have some more stuff. So anyways, to kind of wrap it up, my favorite thing that we always do at the very end of our challenge or our meetings is we always talk about kind of our goals for the next side of the next meeting or throughout the month, and what that looks like and how our committee members can help us maintain and continue those goals and everything like that. So like I said, Trinity has really done an excellent job at really implementing wellness and well-being and mindfulness within not only our communities, but also our residents. So yeah, we've kind of done a lot of things, and that is Trinity.
I love it. I think all of us are going to dance it out. I can see that.
Yes, it is so fun. It's so fun.
I think it too. It's fun. It reminds you of just happiness, but it also is a nice little break, as you mentioned. So it makes you start thinking about something else. It's kind of one of those, mindfulness tricks, right? Just take a break, just take a moment, right? Take a deep breath, whatever works for you. And I love that Dance It Out, because we are in property management, we're all very like fun, extroverted people. So that's the perfect way to do it, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I definitely think dancing it out is one of my favorite ways to just change my mindset and put myself in a different headspace. Whether it's something big and crazy happening or if it's a little small fire in the corner that you're just trying to put out, it definitely helps with changing that mindset.
It does. It does. And I love all the things that you're doing at Trinity. That's amazing. Hopefully people have questions for you at the end. I haven't seen any come through, but remember, you can use that questions box. So please do if you want to learn more. And thank you, Caitlin. So we are going to move on to David. So please, David, tell us what's going on at Lind. This is so fantastic.
Yeah, so it really started before the pandemic, and I had a chance meeting with a guy who is now a partner with me at the company, Chris Jett, and we just started talking about how the world's changing and the world's shifting, and if you take a look at I've run my company and been in charge of it two different times. This is the second time. And the first go round, I ran my company very kind of like the military. People were, you owe your soul to the company store type mentality of, be here 18-hour days, putting in ridiculous amounts of time. And I paused, and when I came back to the company this go round, I looked at all the people who I care about so much. I mean, my team members, I work with them every single day to accomplish really amazing feats. And I started looking at them, both physically and mentally, and recognized that the pace that I was, driving the company and the amount of growth we were experiencing and the type of hours we were putting in is, I was killing these people that I care about so much. I mean, they'd all put on a lot of weight, eating fast food, not getting enough sleep, dealing with tons of stress, and then, kind of putting on this air that they're, excited or happy about it. And when I came back to run the company the second go round, I said, you know what, the so life work balance, there isn't one. Your work is your life and your life is your work. I mean, name me one person who goes home where their work doesn't affect their personal life and their personal life doesn't affect their work, right? So when people talk about a work-life balance, I kind of in Bezos's camp on this one where there is no balance. It's just integrated. So if we're going to integrate people's personal lives into their work life, what are some things we could do and change in our organization and our corporate culture that could benefit their lives, right? And so, when I just look at myself and how I would always treat myself, work was first, right? So first was my family and my kids, and then was work, and then those were it was one or two. Myself and my own health and my own wellness, that was last. Now, yeah, I would wake up at 5:30, 6 in the morning to get my workout in before I started work, so I didn't interfere with it. But I mean, there were times where I would, have a cracked tooth or a cavity, and I wouldn't even take the time to go to a dentist until I was in such pain that I couldn't stand it anymore, right? And so the old saying of, if you don't have your health, you have nothing is the most important thing you can imagine. But think about how difficult it is to even make that sell to people. I mean, here you have the CEO who won't even go to a dentist appointment until I'm in excruciating pain. Or if my hips were bothering me, I didn't make it in to go get surgery done on them for 5 years because I couldn't find the time to take away from work. And when you frame it out and ask yourself that question and put your health first, it just sounds ridiculous, right? I would rather suffer and be in ridiculous amounts of pain than take time away from work because I might miss that business deal or I might not get this assignment done on time. And when you really put it in that context, it's really, really actually very silly. So this is an area where we've tried to program our people at work to be selfish because most people view being selfish as a bad thing. But if you're not in a good place mentally and physically, then you're no good to anyone. You're not good to your kids. You're not good to your significant other. You're not good to your work. You're not good to your friends. And it makes everything in life, very difficult. So we decided to change a few things. So right when the pandemic hit, I was a big workout guy, as I've mentioned, and you couldn't go to gyms. So I said, you know what? We have several thousand square feet, so we're just going to build a full-scale gym that we can use here at the office for anybody who's here that can't go work out at COVID. They want to try to get some stress levels out and do a few things during that very challenging time. So if you look at the picture up here on the corner on the left of the slide, that's what our Lynn gym looks like, in our office. And so we installed that, and we just started. It had a concrete floor. It didn't have a turf floor. There was just the machines in there. And we started holding boot camp free of charge for our people who work at our corporate office. And so that started taking hold. And we said, you know what? We're going to go full health and wellness program at our corporate location here. And so what we implemented across the board was workout classes. You'll see the picture of one of our key team members named Jamar Ransom. And we had made Jamar our Chief Wellness Officer. So we actually have created that title. I think we made it up. And I think it actually is a pretty good one, is we created a title for him called Chief Wellness Officer. And his job was to implement, along with Chris Jett and myself, a health and wellness program to change the culture within the company. And what we did is an overall, just to kind of sum that up, is we created a healthy lunch program. And the first step was to start teaching our people how to eat and eat healthy and with all the bad stuff out there, fast food, everything else, anything fast is typically bad for you. It's prepared quick to make a profit with low grade ingredients, and that's not a good thing. And when we did these healthy lunches, which you'll see over here to the right in the picture, we started doing education. And the most amazing thing is we launched these educational classes on why is it important to get sleep? Why is it important to drink water? What are you actually putting as fuel into your body? When you started imparting this education onto the employees and to see the impact it had on them, that they didn't even understand what healthy was. And in my opinion, in society, that's by design, because people aren't interested in you being healthy. What they're interested in you doing is going to school, getting a good education, getting a good job, and being a super consumer and buying a bunch of stuff. They don't care iota one if you're healthy or your mental health is right or your physical health is right. And so we said, you know what, if they're not getting this education in the real world, then, they're clearly not remembering it from their 6th grade nutrition class or their gym class or the surfacey attempts people make at talking about health and wellness. And we're going to give it to them over a really nice, healthy lunch where we show them how to eat right. We give them some recipes and we just educate them. When that education hit, the conversations that took place after that were actually probably the most surprising thing for me as a CEO, is that once you gave these people the knowledge of how they were damaging their bodies by eating bad food, how they were damaging their bodies by not getting enough water intake, not getting enough sleep at night, that when they got that knowledge, to watch them take and run with it has been just amazing. In addition to that, if you look in the middle, our people in this industry, whether you're on site or you're in the corporate office or in accounting, we're all dealing with bringing in numbers, beating our budgets, and deadlines. And that is a lot of stress to carry around. For myself, the human body is just an amazing, machine. And if you have to deal with lots of stress, your body will come up with all kinds of ways to deal with that. And a lot of them are not good. Cancerous growths, wrinkles, gray hair, all these kinds of things that are not good. Your body will deal with stress however it has to get by. And so, for myself, when I finally went to a few healers and meditators and did some ceremonies and things that got me in such a relaxed state through just heavy massage and and actually dealing with a lot of pain, I was finally at a total state of relaxation. And I finally realized how much stress I carry around all day long. You know, once you have a barometer for what totally relaxed looks like, you finally get a sense of how stressed you are. And I said, you know what? I'm not dealing with my stress on a daily basis. So the middle picture we have up there is our wellness room that we created here at our corporate office. And the black bed over there is called the Cocoon, and it's paired with a sound and light healing apparatus that a doctor named Dr. Porter created. And he does TED Talks about the effects of sound and light healing on the body. And he's been studying it over 40 years. And we created this meditation room so that someone who had a really rough night, fought with their significant other, or they were really stressed bringing something in on deadline, you know, they come into this room, and in 13 short minutes, there are multiple brain hacks that you can select that can calm you down, wake you up, make you more focused, make you more intuitive, make your heart more open to accept love and project love, and all these various things. And, you know, for me, my day starts with a workout in that gym, followed by a 15-minute session in that bed, and then followed by a healthy breakfast thereafter. And I find myself in a much better place to deal with my day. And so we rolled this out to the whole company to have these opportunities. And then with our chief wellness officer, what he did is meet with every single employee and create goals. And when you have an organization, it goes from, I don't know, picture the most unhealthy environment possible to starting to baby step bringing in health and wellness and all of these things into people's lives. You have to spoon feed it. And, you know, we have people who haven't worked out in 20 years to people who work out every single day. And so coming up with a tailor-made program that addresses your most elite, you know, workout person to your most inactive, you know, person who watches TV, and that's about it. We had to come up with various levels of things they could participate in. And so we have the simplest, they just do steps and do laps around the office at their lunch break, or come in the morning and do their steps on a treadmill, to our most advanced that do HIIT training, and they do boot camps. And we offer boot camps several times a day. And then lastly, the thing that we added over the whole thing, which I alluded to earlier in the conversation, is just this kind of dogmatic, old school thinking of how work needs to be in the workplace. You know, serious, and everyone's sitting at their desk and don't get up and grind and stress and everything else. Listen, that's just programming. Life doesn't have to be that way. The office can be a lot more fun. It can be a lot more active, and you can make your environment anything you want it to be, as long as you're getting the results the organization needs and people are happy and love to come to work every day. And so we'll have intermittent massages for our people every once in a while during the middle of the day, and we'll bring in chiropractors, and we do yoga sessions during the week, etc., just to do stuff to break up the monotony of work, let people get up off their desk for 10 minutes a day. And what we have found in our company is that the attentiveness and the focus of people who are allowed to take these small breaks during the day is significantly better than them sitting at their desk, never getting up, eating their lunch at their desk, which is primarily fast food, drinking their 44-ounce big gulp Coke, and not moving all day long. And so, you know, we have really tried to just change the perception and the reality and the culture of how our company used to be run to how it's run today. And then lastly, once we get that corporate initiative right, you know, we try to be very authentic. It's one of our core principles here at our company that we have, is to always be authentic. And I'd like to fancy myself as an authentic person. I don't ever like to pose as something. I like to feel it, experience it, and live it. If I'm going to be talking about it or believing in it, I have to really feel it. And so from the authentic place, we wanted to start at our corporate level, institute this into every day of who we are and what we're about, and then start rolling this out and seeing what works in engaging our residents. So, right before the pandemic hit, we changed our property management division from Lynn to Lynn Living because we recognize that we're managing lifestyles and we're managing people's homes. And so we have started piecemealing this out to our residents to do, free yoga classes, free workout sessions, DJs at the pool, to guest speakers to talk about health and wellness. And, some of the classes are free, and then some of them you have to pay for, but there's a certain amount of free classes for the entire project. And we're just in the initial phases of, basically trying this out. And, we're going to create a petri dish and see what works and what doesn't work and kind of tailor make a solution specific to each kind of property as we manage everything from high rises to, your most basic affordable, housing project. The resident profiles are different on each, and the demands and the needs are different on each. And so it's going to be interesting as we continue to roll this out. But I think that anybody who is centering around this initiative in their corporation or their property or even their personal life, life is a long time, and people tend to abuse their bodies to the point where they quit and fail before they decide they're going to make a wellness or fitness initiative. And I would just implore everybody out there, don't wait till it's too late, because sometimes there are conditions that cannot be reversed and they cannot be changed, and it really hurts your quality of life and how you can enjoy and live your life going forward. And, look, it took me until, 47 years old to arrive at this conclusion in my life, but at least I did get there, and it's better late than never. And so we are, in full swing and implementing this in our company, and we're really, really excited about the traction that we've got so far, and look forward to continuing to add new and exciting features to our offering with our people. And we just think this is the right thing to do as a company. Is if you're working these people as hard as you do, and they're making you money and they're creating a bottom line, the least thing you could do is care about their health and wellness. Because if you can establish that connection with an employee at that level, and they recognize that you care as an employer, they'll run through walls for you. And I think that's the kind of organization that we strive to build here at Lynn.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think, number one, everyone wants to come work for Trinity and Lynn. But two, I think I need that cocoon in my house as well.
I'm telling you what, it becomes very addictive. And I just literally, now that I use it on a regular basis, if I don't start my day by getting a 15-minute session on that and clearing my head, allowing me to think and expand and open my mind, I don't feel the same.
Yeah, I think you may need to send us all the link about more information on that. Well, that's fantastic. So we've heard from Trinity and what they're doing and all the wonderful things at Lynn. And so we have sort of an extra special guest speaker today too. And as we mentioned earlier, we have Barbara Savona from Sprout Marketing, and she's going to share what she is doing. And she has so many things that are fun, as Barbara always does, to really help you incorporate this into what you're doing on site or at your company and in your marketing. So Barbara, take it away.
Thanks, Melissa. Man, it's a hard act to follow Caitlin and David after that, but I think I'll share from the opposite perspective. I left corporate world. I was a property manager and then worked in the advertising firm, and I observed a lot of what David talked about early in his company. This, work to the grind and no work-life balance. And I was newly married, and I wanted to stay married. I wanted to have a happy marriage. And when I set out to build my company, Sprout Marketing, it was really important to kind of do things differently. And I'm not saying that I always succeeded, because at the very beginning of building any company, you are grinding, you are hustling, and you're definitely pushing your people. And then you realize that that's not sustainable, it's not scalable. And so I wanted to leave it on this slide. I think it's a good slide to start. This is from the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And I think sometimes with wellness, we're all in a different place with our wellness journey. And you may be feeling like you have gotten very far away from a time where you're feeling good, and it can feel overwhelming of where to start. And so I love this slide because I'm such a big believer in small things turning into really big impact. just when you do something consistently. And so see, these are some of the wellness things that you, your team, your family, your residents can incorporate. And I love that a lot of these were already talked about, whether it's dancing it out or making a healthy meal or just journaling or any of those kind of things. These are things that we inherently maybe know, but we might have gotten away from, and we might think to ourselves that, man, I just got to keep pushing. And like David mentioned, I think I want to share a statistic that was really mind-blowing to me, and it's 90% of chronic disease is driven not by genetics, it's driven by our environment and our lifestyle. So that could be really discouraging, or it could be really encouraging. You know, to me, if I can control a big part of not getting a chronic disease or managing a chronic disease by my environment and my lifestyle, that's encouraging. And that tells us that small changes can have a big impact. So if we go to the next slide, when I first started my company with Sprout Marketing, we wanted to find ways to incorporate wellness. And we've done this in small ways that are just consistent. So we communicate, we're virtual, so we communicate through Slack. To stay connected, we have a wellness channel, and it's so random the things that people share. It could be a meal that they've put together, like Autumn here, just a healthy meal with her, you know, fruit and chia seeds, and just sharing kind of a little tip. And other times people are sharing things that they did for connection and for getting involved with their family or different things like that. But it is definitely a way for us to stay connected. We've also made it a goal, especially since we are virtual and amidst COVID, to do a lot of team building style events and to learn new things together. You know, study after study shows that when we are learning, it's good for our brain health. It is, you know, builds our confidence. And so every quarter we let the team pick, and we do small groups of what they want to learn about. So this one, we learned a specific kind of tea brewing method. A lot on our team love to drink hot tea. This was the craziest class. It was like very slow paced. I'm not a big tea drinker, but I learned so much. We've done many other things together, and it really bonds us. So it's not just about the physical, right? It's about the mental too, and staying engaged. I'm going to stick here for a minute. We don't have to switch the slide. When COVID really was at the height, we were just seeing that our team was really taxed like everybody else's team. So we implemented a couple of things that have evolved, and I'll share. We're a small team, so we can do some of these things, but hopefully it'll get the creative wheels, you know, turning for you guys on how you can implement this. We saw that people were having to really show up at work, but they were still showing up at home, and a lot of it was working from home. And so we started implementing a flex period, a flex time. So it was 10% of time that our employees were paid. They were basically on the clock hours where they did not have to do work. Like they could literally log off and do whatever, but it was their time. Like they didn't have to tell family and friends that they had that time off. And we encouraged them to do small blocks where they could space it out and just kind of regroup and have that quiet. So this was an initiative that we did for 2 years, and it was incredible. Just hearing the team talk about just the space that they needed. None of our statistics suffered. We actually had some of our best financial years during that time period. And it wasn't, you know, so that's when I say when you focus on wellness, it's not going to be an immediate effect, but you're going to see the benefits in so many ways that you don't expect. We've evolved from there. So after COVID, we went to our team members and we asked, you know, what are you looking for out of your life? And just like David said, there's no such thing as work-life balance, it's work-life integration. And we found that a lot of people just had different priorities and wanted to reach other goals. So we adjusted schedules and made things work so that some employees could work a little bit less hours or come in a little later or leave to pick up their kids. And it's different for everyone. And so what we found worked really well is every employee has a counterpart. So it's a partnership. I myself am part of a partnership. Lauren's my partner and my best friend. And we help each other. We pick up our deficiencies or when one of us is down. So we've implemented that in our company. Everybody has a counterpart partner and they work their schedules out together. So nothing gets missed, nothing gets overlooked. And it's actually more powerful because you're wanting to help each other because you know that in the long run, that's going to help you. So we've evolved and we become more flexible about what we're requiring out of our employees. And we found that by helping employees reach their life goals, they're so much more committed. And like David said, they'll walk through walls, they'll go to the ends of the earth because they love that you care about them beyond just the 9 to 5. ways that you can then start to implement this at your community. So I'm from the marketing perspective as well. We can go to the next one, is looking for events that build that sense of community. And I just want to say that when it comes to wellness, we are in also a loneliness epidemic, and 1 in 4 people struggle with mental health issues. So we used to think an event that was successful had a ton of attendees, but you have to think ever since the pandemic and just the way life is now, people have a lot of anxieties, and sometimes walking into a place where they know nobody, and that might feel like a lot of pressure. So even adjusting our expectations of what makes a successful event can be a really good place to start. People can connect on smaller groups, smaller levels where they're learning things like this one. It's a fitness event, a hydration station. This might be in person, but you could also do it virtually. And again, there's going to be those people that just feel more comfortable with that kind of an interaction. And on the next slide, talking about virtual style events, we have had a lot of communities have success with doing like 5-10-day challenges where it's like, okay, today's challenge is squats, today's challenge is jumping jacks. Drop in the comments how many jumping jacks you did today. And it's fun to see the interaction of the residents. So they're not connected in person, but they are forming a sense of connection online. And that, while it's maybe not the exact same thing as in person, it can still have that that effect. And I think that when it comes to events and wellness with your residents and your team, baby steps are so important. So if you get them excited on social media, a place that they're comfortable, they're already there, they're interacting, and they maybe at first they just observe something and they do it, but they don't comment. And then the next time they do comment, then you're more likely then to have them actually show up in person because they've developed a little bit of a pattern there. You're kind of teaching them how to interact with your community. So I love this idea. I love the idea that what you see on the right, it's a little video, it won't play, but just you can also share wellness tips to your residents on social media. And when people are engaged and they're learning new things, that's a great marketing technique as well, because they're attributing that feeling of wellness that you're providing there. And so people's home is the most intimate place of their life, and anything that we can do to help them feel more connected is going to be a really great thing for the sense of community, and then eventually also for reaching our occupancy and retention goals. And I think that goes well with the next slide, which is even grab and go events can have that feel. So back to what we were talking about, you know, things that make people feel good, whether it's eating healthy or being a part of the environment, like an Earth Day event, or it doesn't have to just be on Earth Day, you know, plants, growing vegetables on their patio, different things like that that make people feel like they're doing good things for themselves and they're learning. Your community can serve as the backdrop. And again, I love the grab and go because it's not intimidating. So if you do have anxiety or you do suffer from, you know, having a difficulty going into public places, this is a small connection that a resident can have that they feel connected to you without feeling that pressure. So if I can encourage anything with your residents, don't get discouraged if they're not showing up in droves. Make it good for the ones that do, showcase it online, and slowly that will build, because I guarantee you, wellness is on people's mind. So this is something that is important to people. They may just not be comfortable yet to talk about it, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. You can just kind of support that lifestyle and encourage more of what you want to see. Okay, so the next couple of slides I wanted to share, this is definitely going into what I'm learning. So the reason that I'm going to school to be a functional wellness coach is because I work with so many property managers that are just so overwhelmed. And I was a property manager. Like I said, I was newly married. I had moved to a new city and I was facing the biggest challenge of my career and advancing in my career. And I wanted to do good in all these places. And it was very overwhelming. And I wasn't doing it in the midst of a pandemic like many of you guys have been for the last few years. So for me, going back is I'm still figuring out, I want to figure out how to bring this awareness to our industry. And one of the things is work satisfaction is huge. We spend so much time with the ones that we work with, and just shifting, instead of working with our employees on where they're not doing well, to really focus on what are their strengths and how can they bring that into their job. So there's a survey that people can take. It's the VIA Character Strength Survey. You can look it up. It's free, but these are the 24 character strengths. And I just want to give you a quick example of how something like this would work when you're coaching your employees as the leader of the team. Let's say that you have somebody that they're not doing well in a certain area. You could approach it and say, you know, you're not organized. I see that you're doing this or you're doing that. But if you've all taken your character strengths and it's something that you're comfortable with, you could bring up the conversation and say, you know, I see that you're struggling with closing this lease. Now, I've noticed that you have such a love of learning, and that is one of your strengths. You're always taking in new information. How could you use that love of learning to find some resources that might make you more comfortable with leasing? Or for example, you know, you have such a zest for life. I noticed that you're always the one that makes everybody laugh here in the office. How could you start incorporating that into your tour so that your prospects can feel that same connection? So when we focus and we lead and we coach our employees based on their strengths, people like to do things that they're good at and they feel good in that space. So I want to encourage us to maybe think that way as leaders. And as the manager, you set the energy for the room. So how you bring it and how you show up for your people is how they're going to show up. And then the last tool that I want to share, and Melissa, I'm going to share all of these PDFs so you guys can have these resources, is a wellness wheel. A lot of times it's nice to just stop and evaluate where we are at in different parts of our life. So this is a way for you to kind of see, like, where do I feel good about? How smooth am I in the different areas of my life? And where are some areas that need attention or that you want to address maybe sooner than later? And we don't stop enough to focus on it. But like David said, a lot of times we focus on it when our bodies make us focus on it. And this is a way that we can even do this with our team. I think it's a great exercise to do with family. And it lets us put attention on where we want to focus. And the last thing I'll say is you can use those strengths as well. So let's say, for example, health and well-being is not doing great. Maybe you rate that at a 5. But your career is at an 8 or a 9. You can say, well, what strengths did I use in my career to grow my career? Maybe it was resiliency. Maybe it was curiosity. How can I now bring those into the health and wellness? And just brainstorm and have that experiment mindset. We don't have to figure it out overnight. Like I said, we're all learning, and wellness is this big spectrum. So wherever you're at in your journey, I think just the fact that we're having these kind of webinars is an exciting place to be. So hopefully these tips were helpful, and I'm going to pass it back to Melissa.
Oh my gosh, there's so much that we can use. And I love how all of our panelists really did a good job of talking about not only, you know, how to implement it in the workplace, but also why this is important to work at your home life as well. We're not, you know, a different person at work and at home. We're that same person, and we have needs that have to fit into that. And I have done this wellness wheel exercise, and I highly recommend it. Maybe when you have a team meeting or something, have everyone just kind of evaluate where are they, yeah, exactly. You know, are they doing really well in their career? They're at a 9, but where are they struggling a bit? And how can they make that more balanced on that wheel? So I absolutely love that exercise, and it's a fun way to get your team involved, because sometimes we don't even realize that our family life is at a 3 when maybe that's something we need to focus on because it's so important. So I'm going to go quickly. We have some questions, so I don't want to miss them. So this is just how, if you're interested in starting a wellness program, here are some of the things to focus on. Obviously, we're not going to talk through this, but if you have questions about, you know, how to get this moving, these are just kind of the high-level steps to move in that direction. And the one I want to kind of point out a little bit is that committee piece. And I think a lot of our panelists today talked about that, but have people on your teams. It doesn't have to just come from the highest levels. Make sure that you're not volunteering people to join this committee, but it's people that are passionate about this, just like Barbara, who can really share that passion with others, because that's when those programs really start to work well. So we'll skip over that. Some of the key takeaways, I think a lot of our panelists mentioned this as well. It's not work-life balance. I hate that. that I call it a work-life rhythm, because it's kind of like that dance that we do. But think of it in a different way. We're not separating those things anymore. But again, all the team, I think we have a million takeaways today from our panelists that we want to make sure that we incorporate. So I had a couple questions, and I think a new one just came in too. Okay, so people wanted to know how, so number one, we'll send you that bingo tool. So Caitlin, everyone loves your bingo, so that's fantastic. I don't know which one of my panelists want to talk about this, but someone was asking how we communicate with our employees as it relates to this sort of topic. Do any of my panelists want to answer? I know Barbara mentioned Slack, so she does that. I think a lot of us also kind of incorporate social media and things like that with our employees and obviously our residents as well. I don't know if anyone had anything else. Obviously, probably email, some of the corporate communication or communication from the committee. Did anyone else have any other cool ways that they communicate?
I think Melissa, you hit the nail on the head. Oh, I'm sorry. No, when you were saying just about that it doesn't have to just be from the lead. So the wellness Slack channel was something that one of my employees thought of. I don't lead that. Everybody just interacts with it naturally. So you could ask your employees, what would be the best way that you guys would want to communicate? Do we want to do a private Facebook group? Do we want to just have like a thread or even a text message or WhatsApp, whatever it works? The ones that they get behind is the one that they'll probably support the most.
Absolutely. And Caitlin, did you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, so a lot of our communication is actually through a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Trinity Team Life. And so this is where we can post anything and everything that does go on with our day, from resident events to updates on the wellness walker challenges, or to marketing updates or things like that. That is like the best tool. I'm always on Facebook, I feel like, and so it's so great to have another resource outside of the company's like internal emails and those kinds of things like that. So private Facebook group is what Trinity has.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, we are out of time, so I'm so sad. So any of the other questions that came through, we will we're going to do maybe a follow-up blog post to this to answer some of those questions that came through. But I wanted to say thank you. I can't even believe how wonderful our panelists were today. So thank you to all of you for sharing all of your best practices, all of the wonderful things that you're doing. It was invaluable. I was writing notes the whole time, and I know a lot of our attendees were as well. So thank you to all of you. As we move forward, so next month, so UGC, yeah, you know me, is our next webinar. So that's all about user-generated content. So hopefully you join us. We're still looking for some panelists for that. So let me know if you are all over user-generated content. You can nominate someone that you work with or you yourself. And we're always looking for new topics to cover as well. So if there's anything you want to hear about, let us know. Now for the $50 Starbucks gift card, how do we get it? So about an hour after the webinar, we're going to post our satisfaction score with this webinar. And in that, if in the comments you like that post, and in the comments, write your favorite wellness idea. If it's something that you do, share that. We'd love to hear what you're doing as well. Or if something our panelists shared really resonated, please share that too. The contest will close at 5 p.m. Pacific today. So thank you again, all of you, for joining us. Like I said, there wasn't enough time to cover all of the amazing things. So we'll send a follow-up in the email. We'll send all of the resources that our panelists shared as well, and then follow it up with a blog post to cover even more. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.